Hello guys, this is Pedram Raufi and you're watching the trading review of the market, and during this program we're going to see what kind of news background we have. We're going to check the fundamental analysis and of course the technical analysis of the stock market, of the Forex market, and of course the cryptocurrency market as well. And about the most maybe important news which nowadays is on some of the resources, and here on the Fox Business I found it. It was related that China actually releases reserves of gasoline and diesel, which actually made the oil prices to get dumped. And the picture which we have on the, maybe better, it would be better to show you on the daily chart or in the 4-hour chart of oil prices, is actually a stop in the upward movement of the price, which have started about yesterday and it's continuing now. But there is some chances that price could really get maybe an upward impulse and retest the local resistance, which we have here, $84. The next is coming, it's a COP26 climate summit, which is continuing, and actually the world leaders agreed to end deforestation, which is a good news for some green companies, and of course which could be really bad news for companies which are related to the deforestation. And due to this factor, we have to actually see that maybe at the end of this summit some changes will get realized, and after that some of the companies could be the winners and some of the companies could be the losers of this climate deal. So you have to pay attention on these two news maybe for in the near future, and we have to check the infection background of COVID-19, which is getting higher. And as we said actually from the previous releases, from the previous reviews, that as you know, when we're getting near to the cold seasons, mostly the COVID infection background is getting higher and higher. So this factor is actually helping the gold prices to maybe get higher and higher. Let's see what is going on with the gold prices. On the daily chart, we are actually observing, on a 4-hour chart we can actually see it better. We are observing a reversal from the local support which have happened, and prices are kind of consolidating above the support, which is a really important level. Let's just draw it. 1780, that's a really important support above which we have we've got strengthened again. So this situation we can continue in the near future for gold prices, which is really important because the gold price is a risk asset, and risk assets like Japanese yen, like gold, like silver, or platinum, they could continue the upward movement, the rise or impulsive upward movements in the case if something is going wrong with the stock market, when stock market get dumped. Let's look through the stock market indexes. Stock market indexes, as you see here, the S&P 500 and Dow Jones, both of them are consolidating near to the new highs, which they have actually reached from yesterday. And at the end of previous week, we were actually observing the situation that prices are getting consolidated around near to the local supports, and after that they actually renewed the highs. S&P 500, due to the 4-hour chart, it's making a correctional movement, and as you know, for S&P 500 the target is 4,800 or maybe 5,000. As we told you from I think maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, actually, about the targets of buying targets of S&P 500, we have talked too much on the other channel, the Russian language channel, which on which my reviews are coming out as well. So here the situation could really get continued, the rising movement, the upward movement, but you have to be careful about the retest of supports of 4,580 and 4,560. This support is kind of a real powerful support, after the retest of which we can actually observe the next upward movement. So here, for now, we are waiting for the retest of this local support. And for Dow Jones, situation have to be similar as S&P 500, 4 hours chart of Dow Jones. Here we've got a local support as well, 35,600 or 35,500, which is the better level to choose. So we're waiting for the retest of 35,600 or 35,500, and after the retest of this support, we can actually get a more clear picture of the next movement. So if this retest would be impulsive, the next movement have to be consolidational. If prices get pushed to these levels, it would mean that the next movement could be really impulsive, and it could get even under the target levels, so it could actually make the price to get to go through 35,200 maybe. So we have to pay attention how they are going to retest these local supports in the future. We're going through the Forex pairs, the most main Forex pairs by which you maybe trade: Euro dollar, pound dollar, Australian dollar to United States dollar, and New Zealand dollar to United States dollar. Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar are kind of continuing the consolidation, but on the daily chart. Let's start from Euro. Euro have made a really big movement yesterday, and today is kind of getting consolidated, and it could really continue this upward movement. But for now, for Euro, for stock market indexes, for pound, we are waiting for a short-term correctional reversal movement, which could maybe make the price to, for example, retest 1.1580 or 1.1560. So after the retest of these levels, after the impulsive retest of this level especially, we can be more sure about the next upward movement above 1.1580, 1.1560, because this level is actually very important level, which is here, which is here, and which is here. And that's a range, that's 1.1580, 1.1560. It's a real important range, after the test of which we could get a real clear, more clear picture of the next price movement. So for GBP, for pound, British pound to US dollar, we are actually observing a really good pattern, which is the pattern of the widening formation. The pattern of the widening formation is when the volatility is getting higher, and the situation looks like a consolidation, but it's not a consolidation. The situation when we get a pattern which looks like a triangle, but in the reverse way, and this widening formation signals the next reversal movement or the next impulsive retest or speculative retest of the near levels. And here, to be sure, we can actually choose the support of 1.36, 1.3620 to wait for its retest. 1.36, 1.3620 would be a better range, after the retest of which we could really be more sure about the next movement of pound. If this range gets retested impulsively, it would mean that the widening formation is continuing and you cannot actually trade. But if this range gets impulsive retest and after that we get a strengthening formation, candle strengthening formation above 1.3620 or above 1.3640, after that we can be more sure about the long positions. So for now, short positions and mostly the downward movement could be really impulsive. Australian dollar on the daily chart, as we see situation here for today is really impulsive. Downward movement which have been done already due to the chart of Australian dollar to United States dollar and New Zealand dollar to United States dollar is really impulsive, and actually for Australian dollar is more impulsive than for New Zealand dollar. And reason could be really related to the oil market or the situation which Australia nowadays have with changing its own course, its own political course and economical course, getting more divided from China and the other fundamental things on which we have to actually pay attention as well. This impulse from the local support, from the local resistance of 0.7530, 0.7540 is really impulsive. This impulse is really powerful. So after this kind of movements, we cannot sell further, and we have to wait for the consolidation above 0.7460. If the consolidation shows us that the amplitude of the candles is getting lower and lower, and they are kind of getting pushed to the 0.7460, it would mean that the next movement could be impulsive and downward. But if we get stuck above this level and on the little scale charts we see, for example, or we observe, for example, a situation like this, it would mean a next reversal of the trend. So you're waiting for something maybe like this to happen, and after that we can actually open our positions for day tradings due to the 15-minute chart, due to the 30-minute chart, and during the day trading we actually could be more sure about the reversal after the strengthening, after the retest of 0.7460, and after the price strengthening above 0.7475. And for New Zealand dollar, here consolidational situation is more observable, and here is a very important level which is getting retest not only one time but really rapidly and too many times during the past, from October, actually from the middle of October, and this level have been retested again. It's 0.7160, 0.7165. This range have been retested, and the prices have been strengthened above them. So due to the previous downward impulsive movements which have happened on the euro, which have happened on the pound, on the Australian dollar, and of course on the New Zealand dollar, which were related to the strengthening of United States dollar, which could really end. This situation which is happening now with dollars could end, because the Federal Reserve System, how they actually changed their opinion about the interest rate hiking, rising in the future too many times during this year, but they are not going to do it till the next year. So the main background is that Federal Reserve System is not going to tighten the monetary policy to get a more higher interest rates. So this really could help the stock market to rise further during this year. And of course, these pairs like Australian dollar to United States dollar, and New Zealand dollar to United States dollar, and pound and euro to United States dollar, they could really continue to rise upward movement as well after they finish this correctional downward movement which have happened previously. So we're waiting for the next strengthening and next upward movement here. United States dollar to Swedish franc and United States dollar to Japanese yen. continuing the consolidation, but let's see what is going on with them in a less scale charts. For our chart, here is a really interesting retest of the local support here of 0.9110, 9120. It's a retest of this range is really important, and price is kind of getting strengthened above them. But you have to be sure that if the dollar prices don't get dumped in the future by the rise of stock market, here we won't have the upward movement. But if the stock market in the near future makes some downward correctional movement, which is more likely in the near future, so we could get a upward impulsive movements here on the United dollar to Swiss franc chart or United dollar to Japanese yen chart, then this could be more real. So we are really we have to wait for the stock market to make this downward correctional movement, which could happen in the near future. And after that, the prices here could really get pumped to 0.9170, 0.9190 maybe. And for United dollar to Japanese yen situation here, it could be really fun as well. Because after the retest of local support here, we are waiting for next actual retest, for next downward impulse, and after that maybe prices could really get into the widening formation or into the consolidational corridor, and after they could really get strengthened and go higher. It would really depend on the stock market's upward movement stop. So if the stock market's upward movement stops anytime in the future, this scenario of the next reversal and the continuation of upward movement of United dollar to JPY and United dollar to CHF would be more realistic. Let's see what's going on with the Bitcoin prices and Ethereum prices. As we see here, 57,000 have been retested previously, and that's a really level. That's a really important target level, which we chose previously. So they have been retested really. As we see for Ethereum situation here, 4,200 we can say actually have been retested. 4,200 have been retested, and now prices are continuing the upward movement. Here we have a divergence. It's a real long-term divergence due to the chart of due to the 4 hours chart of Ethereum. And for Bitcoin, do we have any divergence or not? We have to check the 4 hour chart. We don't have a divergence. We had a divergence here, but it actually already closed. So the divergence is when the maximums of the price are getting higher and the maximums of the oscillator indicator is getting lower. So this situation called divergence, and divergence on top of the market could really signal the next reversal movement. This reversal could be correctional, as we see here on the chart of the Bitcoin and of course of the Ethereum. This divergence maybe is already closed. So we are waiting for the next upward impulsive movement for Ethereum and for Bitcoin. And after this upward impulsive movement, we could kind of close the buys for Bitcoin around 65,000, 67,000, and for Ethereum we can actually close the buys around 4,400, 4,500. Thank you guys for watching this video. I wish you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe on our channel and ring the bell so you would know what kind of other programs we have and in which time they could come out. Till next time, have good tradings. Bye bye.